if we don't have a president, does the next one in line
Yeah.
conduct? Okay. That would be Michelle. Are you comfortable with that, Michelle?
Sure.
All right, everyone, we should be live.
Back on. Just thought I'd let you know.
What's that?
I'm sorry.
We're live, Michelle. We can start the meeting.
All right. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. So I would like to call the meeting to order, and it's 5:30.
All right.
I guess the first order of business is the oath of office for Dudley Lush and myself.
Do you want to both listen to the oath of office and then both agree? Oh, am I muted?
No, I can hear you.
So I can read it twice, or I can ask both of you. I don't know what's appropriate. I mean, but it's just a little odd over Zoom. If you both can agree after I read this, yeah, I think that would be appropriate, because then you have to come in and sign it anyway at some point. Is that okay, Dina? Okay.
Chris is nodding yes, so I agree.
Okay,
Yes.
we're gonna go that one. Okay, so here we go. Do you, Dudley Lush and Michelle Griffith, do solemnly swear and affirm, as the case may be, that you will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of this Commonwealth, and be faithful and true to the Commonwealth of Kentucky, so long as you continue a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully execute to the best of your ability the office of trustee of the Trimble County Public Library, according to law? And do you further solemnly swear or affirm that since the adoption of the present Constitution, you, being a citizen of the state, have not fought a duel with deadly weapons within the state nor out of it, nor have you sent or accepted a challenge to fight a duel with deadly weapons, nor have you acted as a second in carrying a challenge, nor aided or assisted any person thus offending, so help you God?
Pause. Pause. But
Pause.
who is Pam? We want to make sure we have a video feed and an audio from all of the actual trustees.
She just got connected, Chris.
Yeah, I saw her again.
Yeah, she just got reconnected.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Yeah,
All right.
she's there.
You can now
Okay.
answer.
So Dudley, go ahead and answer, and Michelle.
I do.
And Michelle?
I do, and I have not fought any duels.
Okay, good. I'm relieved. So I have them ready for you at your convenience to come in and sign them.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so moving on, we need to elect officers, and all of us, the president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary, are open for new election. The president and vice president are no longer on the board. So I am the treasurer currently, and Pam Watson is the secretary. So we need to assign president and vice president. Dina had asked me if I was okay with serving as president because I've been on the longest. So if I am okay with that, as long as everyone agrees to it. And then we would need to fill the vice president and the treasurer. Does anybody want to offer to take one of those spots, or volunteer yourself, or we're going to have to volunteer you? Pam, it is just my opinion that because you, Pam, are you there?
You're muted.
Pam Watson?
Now can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I'm here.
So, okay, it's just kind of my opinion that since Dina helps us so greatly with the secretary job.
She does it practically.
I know, basically. So I was wondering if I could nominate you to take the treasurer position, because you're coming from a banking background. And you're familiar with our finances, and it basically is a lot of check signing. Would you be good with that? Switching?
Yes, if I can ask you, when do you do the check signing? Do you do it like just for payroll, or do you do it periodically during the week, or how is it?
I believe payroll is automatic deposit for the most part.
Okay,
So Dina usually will text the people. It has been me and Hannah in the past lately that are on the signature card, and just sees who is available. So I'm still close to town and would still stay on the signature card and could go in, but that's how it's handled. Is she just texts and says, I have a package of checks. It's usually only about twice a month.
okay.
And then she has them ready for you when you can come to the library to sign them.
Yes, ma'am, I would be more than glad to do that if everyone else is in agreement.
Okay, so let's talk about this just to make sure before we make the motion. Is everybody in agreement that I take the president role? And first, is everybody in agreement that we do it that way?
I think that's a
Yes.
fine idea. You've
Yes.
yes. Been at this a
Okay.
while.
Is everybody okay then with switching Pam to the treasurer's position?
Absolutely. Yes,
I agree.
Okay, so the vice president usually does not have anything that they have to do that's pressing unless I were not to be able to. So who would like to nominate themselves for vice president?
I will do it since there's not anything pressing that needs to be done.
All right, Angela Anderson. And we'll make the motion as soon as we get this. So if, is anybody, so with the secretary position, Dina usually has it all typed out for us, and she just has you turn in, when we have a meeting, you would follow her notes that she supplies us, and you fill in what we're voting on and so forth. And then she basically compares notes from what you wrote and what she wrote down, and then compiles it for you to sign. So is there anyone that would like to volunteer for the secretary position? We don't have very many of you left.
Bethany, how do you feel about technology and stuff? I know Dudley, he's not very keen on it, but I really do I take them. I really try hard to have comprehensive notes for you guys when you see them in the meeting, and then basically I take notes. I forward my notes to you as the secretary, and I just have you double check, make sure our motions are correct, and the people that made the motion are correct. And so I really try to make it so it's not a lot of work on the secretary. So I don't know how you feel about that though, Bethany.
That's fine. I can do that.
She does it through DocuSign or through Google Doc, which
Okay.
was the only thing to get used to. I wasn't familiar with that one because I was secretary the last time. So if you're familiar with Google Docs, she'll send it to you, and you just say, oh, you misspelled that, or, I remember it being somebody else or whatever, but it's basically you just checking her. I didn't want to say all that and get her in trouble in front of Chris. So since she admitted it.
No, I know other libraries do it differently, but I spend probably about 90% of the time speaking usually in a board meeting. So it's just easier just to create the notes and take notes alongside and then have the secretary double check, make sure we're on track. So.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Okay, so Bethany, do you go by Carter or Johnson? I see it on there.
Carter's actually my maiden name, so it's Bethany. It's
Yeah.
just Carter Johnson on Facebook, but yeah, it's
Okay.
Johnson is my last name.
Okay, so I would like to have a motion to approve election of the following officers as myself as president, vice president Angela Anderson, treasurer will be Pam Watson and secretary as Bethany Johnson.
I move that we approve these nominations as stated for each office.
Okay, Pam has made the motion. And who do I have for a second?
I'll second.
Who is that, Angela?
Yes.
Angela. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Okay, Dina, you want to talk about the trust communication?
Sure. I just want to say thank you to everybody who's signed on to this. The pay is horrible financially, but I think it's very rewarding. We have a wonderful library and we provide a lot of services, and I'm just really excited to get to know you and work with you. So we've got a lot of great things to talk about tonight, and so I'm going to try to hurry through this. I know Michelle has an obligation at around 6:40 that she needs to go to, so we're going to try to honor her time. So in the next week or two, I know you guys have received a lot of training, so I will be sending out packets of information for you, along with some training opportunities. There's about 2 or 3, maybe 3 hours max of training for online, Chris?
Probably less. To get the full certification would probably be about 2.5 hours.
Okay. I would highly recommend that you do the training. If you need help with that, you can come to the library. We'll set you up on a computer and get you going on that. There are some just real quick things you want to make sure that you're just contacting me if you're going to miss a meeting. And that just makes us, we just need to make sure we have a quorum of 3. We can't make any decisions without that, with at least 3 board members there. And then also, you're able to miss up to 3 absences in a calendar year. The 4th absence, we have to find a new to replace your the position. Is that correct, Chris?
In any 12-month period, so it's kind of a rolling window.
Okay, 12-month period. I'll make that notation in the notes. So, and then also just make sure that if you're meeting outside, to see each other in the community, just make sure that you're not making any decisions and discussing a lot of things. You can come up with ideas and stuff, but any decisions moving forward needs to be in an open meeting. And I will send you those laws. That's very important. Is there any other quick tips I need to pass on, Chris? Okay.
Good.
All right. Michelle, you want to go on to financial items?
Okay, I need to get a motion to remove Hannah Edwards and Keith Wagner on the bank signature cards. And I'll make that motion that we remove Hannah and Keith from the signature card. And do I have a second?
I second.
Is that Pam?
Mm-hmm.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And then I need a motion to add the following board members to the signature card, which would be, Pam, you're not on it already, right?
No, I am not.
Okay, so we would need to add Pam and Angela, right? Dina, the vice president.
I believe that is completely up to the board.
So if we have 3 people on there, Dina has to have a second signature. So she's the first signature, her or Betsy. And then I think in the past we've had president, vice president, and the treasurer. So if I could get a motion that we add Pam Watson and Angela Anderson. I don't think they have to do a brand new card. They
Yes,
might
ma'am.
have to.
Yes, they will.
Okay, so we'll all, so.
And just notify them, just notify the bank that you're going to need it done, and they'll probably have it ready, that all we have to do is sign when we get there.
Okay, and I know they have to have it in the minutes. They have to see the minutes that states who's being added and who's being taken off. So we'll be removing Hannah and Keith, and we need to add Pam and Angela and then the rest of us will go sign it again. So can I get a motion to add Pam Watson and Angela Anderson to the signature card at Bedford Bank?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Angela's made the motion.
I
And
just
also,
wanna- Can I hold up? I want to just make sure the minutes reflect also that Dina Ratliff Warren will be on it and Betsy Tweedy.
Okay, wait just a moment here. Okay. So you want the motion to say that we are going to add Pam Watson and Angela Johnson and continue and continuing on with Dina and Betsy? Is
That
that
will
what you're,
work.
I'm sorry,
yes, and myself,
and Michelle?
yes.
Okay.
And who made that motion?
Angela made the motion.
I did.
It needs a second.
I'll second it. That's Michelle. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just a real quick note, all of you guys will be bonded. We have a bond that ensures the position and not the person. And so our bond just rolls over anytime we get a new board member. So that it's a little bit more expensive to do it that way, but it's very handy. So.
Okay, I'll let everybody take a look at the checklist and financial statements for July.
Sorry, it's August. That was a typo on my part.
Oh, I'm sorry too. For August. Some of you may have gone and gotten a packet. Mine never did come in the mail, Dina. I don't know if anybody else got theirs, but
I did get mine.
you did.
Mhm.
I'm gonna have to start sending them out early. That I know the post office is slammed right now.
Whenever anybody is ready, I don't know how long, if you've already all taken a look at them. I printed mine at work today and looked at them, so.
Yeah, me too.
I guess this, when you've had a chance to look at them, if you just look up, then I'll know that everybody's ready. Okay, so does someone want to make a motion that we approve the checklist and financial statements for August?
I'll make the motion.
Pam? And do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second.
Who was that?
I think it was Bethany first.
Stephanie?
Yeah.
And all in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, moving right along. If I can get everybody to take a look at the August minutes. And when you're ready, I need a motion that we approve the minutes from August. Is everybody ready?
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Angela,
Mhm. Yes.
and I'll second that. Everybody, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we have any public comments?
Don't think so at this time.
Okay, looks like Chris, you're up.
I don't really have anything to add to the written report.
All righty.
Okay.
Thanks to our new folks for their service to the library. I appreciate all of y'all and our continuing trustees too, of course.
Thank you.
Chris is a great resource. So if you have any questions or problems along the way, I will, in your packet, I will include his email contact information so that you can reach out to him. I've worked with him for what, about 4 years now, perhaps.
Yes.
Yes, and he's been invaluable. So he's helped me a lot. So I appreciate
Thank you for your help.
Sure thing. I enjoyed working with you all.
All right. We're gonna, I guess, is it okay to take over, Michelle?
Go right ahead.
Okay. So we have with us Aaron Zimmerman and Tanner from Playtopia. We decided as a board to go with their bid from our last meeting, and I'm going to try to open up and share my screen without turning everybody off or doing something inappropriate. So, so everybody should have gotten a quote. Can everybody see the quote so far? Okay. So I'm going to turn the time over to them and let them tell us what they did. I would try to get some feedback from board members, and let me see if I can get the screen up, and just said, fill up this space for us. We had some feedback from a board member that, granddaughter won't get on a playground without a swing, and shared the other plans that we really liked. And I think they really came back with a really good plan. And so Aaron and Tanner, do you guys want to take over?
So essentially what we did is just work off of your ideas. We tried to incorporate as much shade as possible. I know benches were a big priority. And also, we don't show them on here, but there's also some picnic tables. And so we really tried to take a unique shape of a site and get as much in it as we could. So if we needed to do, excuse me, any work with a budget or do anything as far as rearranging some stuff, we could pull items out, kind of shift things around. So really, Tanner did a great job with the design of getting you as much activity and as much play and as much shade as we could fit. And so where we're at now is really just looking for some feedback and see what you thought, what you liked, what you might not like. And then it's in the system now, so any changes can be done fairly quickly.
Okay. So we added a swing and I believe a sit and spin to the quote. That first quote came in at over $122,000. That was using the coated mulch. I did ask Aaron about that, why there was such a big difference with their quote for mulch and other companies. And unfortunately, the other company didn't really indicate what kind of mulch they were using, but this is certified IPMA and it's coated. So hopefully they're not going to get that residual black stain on their skin when they play. So I know the board was kind of leaning towards that direction rather than the mulch. The second quote that they provided came in at little over 115,000, and that included that was with the IPMA certified wood fiber mulch. So it does take off quite a bit of money there. So I don't know we never have really talked about budget, like what do we want to keep this in, our numbers at. So if you guys want to look at that and say, yeah, this is too high. Okay, if it is, what do you want to cut off? I would say if I had to reduce anything, although I love the shades around the picnic or around the benches, it adds a lot of cost to our playground, and the sun moves, like when you're on a beach. So I don't think that they move. And so you're going to have lots of time where even though there's a shade there, you're just not going to have any shade. So, but I don't know.
Most functional, the shades are the most functional, obviously, when the sun is at its highest point, and after that, starts going down and it's still going to get warm. So,
yeah.
Well, we
What
do-
is this? What is the shade material?
Oh, that was my question. Good job.
What
It's,
it-
do you have that? There's a special name for it.
If you're familiar with, it's kind of like what they call sunbrella shade. It's a real heavy duty fabric, and I can get you samples. I believe you should have a warranty and everything. But it's a UV resistant, heavy duty fabric. And I couldn't tell you the exact name of what they call it. But it's used a lot for marine applications. So in a previous life, when I used to do a lot of, I was a polymers expert. So I did a lot of plastic sales. And we did a lot of shades to the marine industry because the guys would put them on the boats. So it's used for that. What we try to stick to are neutral colors. We try to stay with kind of a blue, tan, or a green. Anytime you go with reds, yellows, oranges, they will typically fade a little bit quicker. And that's metal playgrounds. That's anything. Anytime you get in reds, yellows, it'll want to fade. So we try to stick to these, but you do have other color options as well.
What is the rigidity factor? Are they going to, because we have lots of windstorms through here, some pretty severe.
Absolutely.
Are they going to turn inside out? Are they going to tear upside down? What?
So the fabric itself, I was trying to look it up. There's a warranty up to a certain wind speeds, and I believe it's a sustained wind speed of 70 miles per hour with gusts up to 90. Now, obviously, the metal frame will sustain more than that, but with the shades that are placed around the benches, those the canopy, which is what we call it, that attaches to the metal frame, can actually be removed.
Oh, okay.
So if I mean, that's a lot of shades. It'd probably take more than 10 minutes to remove them. There's a certain technique to it. But they are fairly easy to remove. But a lot of times, around here, a storm pops up just like that. We've got shades that we've put in here in Somerset that have been up for over 10 years. And I mean, we've had some serious, windstorms come through and haven't had any problems with them.
And I'll tell you what I can do. And I grew up in Gallatin County, so I'm pretty close to where you are. I'm familiar with those Ohio River storms. We won a large bid for a really big structure for a ballpark in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And I had to put together a whole spec sheet for them from the manufacturer of those shades. If you'd like, I can pull that back up. I know it'll need to be updated. Probably on Monday, I can send that to you if you'd like. And it has all the factors.
I don't know that would be necessary. That was just a question of mine. When I see something like that on a playground, I've been to the beach enough times to know that my umbrella turns inside out.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I mean, this obviously is a far higher caliber than, what you'd buy in Walmart or whatever, but still at the end of the day, if somebody decides to take a razor blade to it, it's going to cut, I mean, there's that risk too with anything, vandalism's vandalism. But overall, the rigidity and the quality of it is it's the best in the industry, period. And now the shades that are attached to the structures, those can also be removed, just like the ones on the umbrellas. So, some people, now what they will do, some of the Head Starts that we sell to here in Eastern Kentucky, they'll if they know a big snowstorm's coming, they will remove them because the weight of the snow over time, not just from one snow, but over the years, a lot of times they'll just remove them in the winter because there's no point in having the material out there. So that's also an option too. That'll help prolong the shade life.
Do you recommend that we do remove them during the winter?
If it was me and it was mine, I would, yes.
Okay. And are all these, I see 5 of them I got 2 different drawings here, 2 different. There's 5 on each one. So we have five, are they all the same size?
What was that on the quote?
Scroll up. So I know, there we go.
10 by 10. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. The
And
ones on
are
the
they
structure
in
are
such a
also,
way, are they in such a way that if we removed all five of them, they would interchange in case we got a little mixed up?
now the ones that are on the ground for sure. The two on the structure are going to be a little different. So if you were to pull the two off the structure, I would keep those together. Now they could interchange among themselves, but the ones on the ground, there'll probably be just a little bit of a size difference. So it's pretty close, but it's
Okay.
it's probably maybe 6 inches difference. So yeah, you would want to keep those separate.
Okay, and when they come off, is there a frame or something that comes off with them, or do you just roll them up and store
You essentially just roll them up.
them?
There
They come off
is,
and the frame stays.
right, correct. Yeah, there is so at the end, so you have the frame that comes down and kind of like a tent. And at the end of that frame, there's actually a screw, and then there's a hook that hooks into the a grommet on the fabric of the shade. And when you tighten that, that screw moves and it loosens the shade. And then when you put it back on, it'll, tighten it back.
So how many people would you think it would take to remove one? Just would
Well, I mean, I've done it by myself. I mean, you can do it with one, especially a 10-footer you could do by yourself. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, it's probably handier to have an extra person, but just to ensure you don't damage the fabric when you take it off.
Okay, and us taking them down and putting them back up, that wouldn't void the warranty?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
And also, you'll most likely have to have a ladder to kind of
Yeah.
stand up. So you'd want somebody just on
Okay.
the ladder.
No problem there.
Because the eave height on these, where the actual shade starts at 8 foot.
Okay.
And then it rises about a couple of feet or so,
Oh, it
maybe
does?
even 3 feet. So
Okay,
So the play structure itself, that one has, on the bid, it just says 3, quantity of 3. Down where it's at 10 by 10 by 8 shade with glides, quantity 3. So is this play structure included in that 37.8?
yeah, the shade is included in the structure total MSRP.
So what we're looking at is almost $26,000 for 3 10 by 10 squares for shade. Okay,
and not 5, 3.
just 3 because the
Yeah,
other
on the
2
ground,
are
right.
in the structure.
Oh, okay.
It looks like it's all on the ground, the way the angle is, but
So I think it really looks really great, but for 3 shades for $25,000, we might want to cut back on that.
I mean, I'm just thinking we built a pavilion for them to get out, for the people that are going to be sitting on the benches are probably going to be parents, would you not think? So they can also, if they want to get out of the sun, they could go sit in the pavilion. That's just my thoughts.
That's what I think too. I think they look really cool, but I do think in the long run, it will be a lot of maintenance for staff and
considering the cost.
yeah.
I mean, I love it all, but
Mhm.
my thoughts are, or my opinion would be not to do the 3 at the benches on the outside.
I agree, Michelle.
But I also like the coated, what do you call that?
Yeah, rubber mulch.
Yeah, the rubber mulch as opposed to the wood, just because of, I don't know, I think when kids are playing on mulch, we're taking a chance on splinters and probably having to replace it more often. What is your guys' opinion on the wood fiber?
Well, personally, and I mean, obviously, it's my personal opinion. I like the wood fiber better than I like the rubber mulch. Mainly because, so there's sort of this misconception that you don't have to replace it as much, and that may be somewhat true, but the rubber mulch doesn't stay in place as well as the wood fiber does. The wood fiber gets weighed down and it compacts and actually forms a more, I guess, almost like a more continuous surface. The rubber mulch has a tendency to get kicked out a lot. I guess simply just because it's a rubber material, it's more bouncy, and I guess somehow if you've ever visited a playground that has it, especially when it's been around a while, somehow it always ends up outside of the borders. And
Yeah,
you'll have piles of it, and then in the playground area, you'll have these bare spots everywhere. And so, I mean, it looks good. I mean, it really does. The black, now the other side of that too, the black rubber mulch, which is probably the most common quoted, will get way hotter than the wood fiber will. That rubber mulch can get pretty toasty. I mean, you're talking about a 95-degree sun beating down on a black surface, and there's that to consider as well. I've been on sites where the rubber mulch was down. There's heat waves coming off of it. It can get that warm. Now anything in 95 degrees is going to get warm, but a black surface is going to get the warmest. Now there are other colors, obviously. Most people go with the black because it fades less. If you go with like a red or a terracotta or a green or something, it's going to fade. And there's no perfect surfacing out there, even poured in place, which is, the most expensive. They only warranty that for 5 years, and that will start to peel and crack and fade and everything else. It's just, it's hard to beat nature. So we just feel like that the wood fiber is the best bang for your buck, even if you have to refill it. I think it looks better than the rubber mulch, but that's just me.
I really appreciate you telling us that, because I mean, we don't have any way of knowing unless we have an expert.
I mean, it's
does it come in any colors, or is it all the brown?
You can get it in black. You can get it in, now it's subject to availability, because as you know, everything right now is subject to availability. But you can get it in green and like terracotta.
But that would be fading more than the normal.
Reds definitely are gonna turn, a light red, or it just, I don't know. It just kind of gets dingy over time. And wood fiber, I mean, everybody knows wood fiber will degrade over time too. But the wood fiber also goes in thicker. Your wood, was it 6 inches on this for rubber mulch?
Rubber mulch is 6 inches. From a salesman's point of view, following up with people afterwards, in your all's position that went one way or the other, wood fiber over time is what I would call more user friendly. So wood fiber is put in at 12 inches, and over time, as it gets walked on, played on, rained on, it'll compact and kind of interlock to 8 inches. So you get a firmer surface. Which is
more wheelchair friendly.
Not
a lot more wheelchair.
It's not perfect for strollers or wheelchairs, but you can get them on there. Rubber mulch goes in at 6 inches, and it will always be 6 inches. It never really compacts. So if you're trying to push any kind of a wheel on it, it's almost
kind of
like
goes.
It's like mud.
Kind of goes through it instead of on top of it. You're kind of
you sink into it.
Yeah, you kind of sink into it.
Does the wood fiber stay pretty cushy?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's so
falls.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So and there's some arguments it's actually more cushiony than the rubber. Has better displacement than the rubber mulch does. So all of the mulch that we sell, whether it's the rubber or wood fiber, goes through the IPMA certification process, where they actually take samples of that surfacing material, and they have what's called a head gauge, which basically simulates a child's head dropping, and it has to be within a certain range when it hits that mulch. If the tool like cracks, so to speak, then it doesn't pass. So, whether you buy the rubber or the wood fiber, it's certified for up to The wood fiber goes up to 10-foot fall height, and then the rubber, I think, is it cap out at 8? I'd have to look,
I
but
want to say 8.
yeah, but the wood fiber actually has a higher fall height minimum, so or maximum.
I was all set to agree with Michelle until you've discussed that this really would also have the advantage of not putting extra plastics into the environment.
Hey, I don't agree with Michelle now either.
We were all unanimous with you.
Well, we're not trying to start an argument here. We're just.
Let me ask you this: do you would you recommend we put that black screen, the felt stuff down before you put the wood down to stop weeds? Or
that's another one of those things that we didn't quote it, and we normally don't quote it. And the reason being is it doesn't matter what you put down, weeds are going to get through.
Yes.
So what happens is we'll put it down and weeds will start popping up. Well, why'd we put that down? There's weeds coming through. Well, I mean, a weed can push its way through concrete, and then the other thing that happens, especially with the rubber mulch, is and we have one here in town that has this problem exactly. You've got the rubber mulch and it starts it's not in as deep as the wood, so it kind of thins out quicker. And then the fabric starts getting all tied up where kids are kicking it with their feet and it gets pulled up. And, so, I mean, it will help with the weeds. It's not going to keep the weeds out. You're still at the end of the day going to have to take a strong weed killer, go around and treat it to keep it truly weed free.
It works fine around your house. I use it around shrubs, things like that, because you're not running on it constantly, walking on it constantly, and working it up. And that's where it starts to have a problem.
In the initial stages, it'll work pretty good. Over time, it'll turn into a mess. It just will.
Yeah.
It'll just get all knotted in there with the surfacing and everything else, especially where kids come off the slides and swings. Their feet, that's the first thing that hits. It just gets kicked away. And we do have optional swing and slide mats that you can put at the ends of your slides and your swings, so that as they're coming off the exit, their feet hit that and it doesn't displace the surfacing.
Is that kind of like a mat of some kind?
It's a rubber. It's a pretty large rubber mat. It's about 2 or 3 inches thick, and it's actually staked into the ground, so it can't really be picked up and moved. So it does help with keeping the mulch staying in place, because those are the areas that absolutely gets eroded first.
So what I'm hearing is we really don't need that. The black felt is what it kind of sounds like. Yes.
We'll let you guys hash that one out.
There's pros and cons.
Pros and cons, yes.
So if we go with the wood fiber and take out the 3 10x10 shades, we're down to $89,980. So I don't know about you all, but I was kind of hoping to keep this under 100,000. So yeah, I think that, and I'm thankful that you were honest enough with us to let us know that the cheaper way to go, the wood mulch, is actually the best.
I would only want to put down what I would want to put down, and that's just, I mean, you got rubber mulch enthusiasts, if there is such a thing, but you've got them out there that are definitely on the rubber mulch bandwagon. We're not that way, and we think truly, because our product is a more natural product, that the wood fiber kind of goes more hand in hand with, we're taking this product that's essentially the posts and stuff are all made from reclaimed milk containers, and you're blending that in with the wood fiber that comes from wood scraps and things like that, so it kind of goes hand in hand, and I think it looks better with the equipment too.
I'll make a point too on the shades, if you don't mind. We have done numerous, probably lost count, jobs where we started with the playground. Shades aren't a necessity. They're expensive, and they can be a maintenance issue over the long run, but they're nice. I mean, it's nice to have shades. So we've done a lot of jobs where we've come out, put a playground in, and then over time there was money raised or a grant or something came through, and we'll follow back up and come out with some shades later. So.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
always an option if we leave it off.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. We can come back in at any point, and if you decide you want, a couple of shades over the benches, just rake the mulch back, or even put it outside the borders, if it's close enough, and just have it, hang over or whatever. So yeah, there's plenty of options there later down the road. That's the thing about our equipment is, even if down the road you decide you want to add on to the play structure itself, we can add elements to it, make it bigger, if that's something you want to do.
I haven't heard a lot of you all speaking, so would anybody else like to chime in?
Actually, I think I agree with pretty much everything you said. I had some of the same questions.
Would we be able to, if we pick a quote tonight, if we go with something, would you mind telling us how much the mats for under the slides run, so that we'll have that? And that, I'm assuming that can be added if we.
Oh yeah. And they're not too terribly expensive. They actually, we actually buy them from the people that do the wood fiber material. So we'll get a fresh quote on those and see what the current price is on them. Because with what you'd save on the rubber mulch, you could put those around, the structure, and help keep it at bay.
Typically, I can have it to you 5 minutes after the call. This year with prices and wait, we have to always double check.
Yeah, we have to almost get a fresh quote every week.
It's very aggravating.
Is the pricing still good? It's just crazy right now.
So it might be tomorrow, but I'll get that to you.
Okay, that's no problem. So Dina, are you wanting us to, you're wanting us to make a motion on something tonight, right? Because like they said, the quote's not going to be good if we keep going with what if.
Yeah, and then they have to requote everything, and it's just a lot of work. And so
I would like to hear from the rest of the members that haven't said anything. Bethany, we had a swing added, so your granddaughter will play on it.
I'm pretty excited about the swing.
It's a cool
there a
swing.
way that thank you all. Is there a way that we can maybe shade one section without having to purchase all 3 sections at first, where there's at least a little bit of shade back there? Or do we have any natural shade back there?
there is some natural shade when the sun starts to go down. There's a tree line along the back of the church property. And we can look into planting trees and things, but it's going to take,
a little while.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I just wondered if there was maybe one section we could shade without doing all 3. Is that what you were always saying? Sorry, it's hard to tell.
Those shades, those umbrella shades are pretty much be put anywhere on that side.
I think it would be nice to have one of the benches shaded. And
right, I agree.
Just because there might be the mother who would prefer to be out there on that with the child rather than being in the pavilion.
Right.
And there would be no shade for that person if that were to come about. So
I agree.
At least one.
Right.
But does anybody else think about that? Michelle, what do you?
Yeah, that's $8,600. I'm good with that. Are we allowed to just order one?
Yeah. You can order 0, but yeah, you can order just one.
And what will happen, it would be early next week, but any changes that you want to make, we'll revise the quote to reflect it, but we'll also revise those site plans. I guess the only thing would be if you do want to keep one of those shades, just let us know where at you would like it. Yep. And then we'll revise that site to reflect it all.
Good. Okay. Yeah, I'd like one area shaded. Yeah.
I'm good with that. What do you think, Dudley?
Can y'all still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know what I missed when the computer went down. I just have a couple more questions about the mulch. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
This is wood mulch. I mean, no imitation or anything, it is wood.
Correct. Yes, it's so
What kind is it?
go ahead. Sorry.
What kind is it? What species of wood is it?
Is it cedar? I'm not sure. I'll have to look.
Nobody's ever asked us.
That's the first time I think I've been asked that question. Yeah.
We can find out.
It's wood.
It's wood. Okay.
Well, yeah, we'll find out. Actually, can probably find out right here on my phone.
So what it is, because I've seen people go back and refill with kind of the Lowe's mulch. It's not what you and I are going to go get at Lowe's and fill our garden beds with, or around our bushes, which can kind of get sharp. It has bigger pieces in it. So this is IPEMA certified playground mulch. So it's much softer, and that's why it interlocks over time.
Okay.
So it's not like the stuff you and I are used to from just buying at Lowe's in a bag.
So,
but I don't know what kind of tree.
Yeah, and per the IPEMA requirements, it has to meet a certain. There's like a sliver gauge, I guess you could call it, where it can't be so sharp, that sort of thing. So it has to go through that process too.
Okay, so over the years, when we do maintenance, I guess we just rake this down a little bit every now and then, it comes back.
Yep.
Okay, do you add to it as you do that, or does the bottom layer start? Did you start a compost?
Yeah, the bottom layer will compost, and over time, you'll just keep working. It just keeps working its way down. You'll just keep putting a fresh coat on top, which is not like every year. I'll have to look exactly what they recommend on that.
Okay.
But yeah, you're basically putting a fresh top coat, on it ever so often, which you're going to have to do that with rubber mulch too. It's so.
Well, I'm not for the rubber mulch at all, so I'm just asking some questions on this.
Right.
I'll have to check. I believe Carrie, we were going through this with a school and hazard last week. Typical decomposition of that, he said, was on average about 20% every 2 years, somewhere around there. So he goes on about 20-25% every 2 years.
So there will come a time that we will have to clean all of this out and start over.
No, you'll just keep putting fresh mulch on top. Yep.
Okay. All right. You answered my questions.
I'm very curious what type of wood it is. Nobody's gonna find out.
So what I'm hearing is that we like the playground, and we would like to go with the wood fiber mulch and only one of the 10 by 10 shades, which takes us down to 98.6. So that's still under 100,000. Plus we had the pavilion cost and the electrical and all that. So we're still going to be up there, but we can at least keep this under 100 or right at. So can we make a motion, Dina, with them still needing to get I forgot what they were going to get. They're going to get a quote on that, or is this quote good right now if we vote to go with this quote? And you need a vote you need to know tonight, or otherwise it's going to change again.
All we're going to do is revise off of your ideas. So basically one shade, I'll get you MAP pricing, and then we'll change the site plan to reflect all of this. So.
Michelle, it seems like it might make sense to do exactly what you said, to have a motion to sign the contract as you amended it, using the wood mulch and eliminating 2 of the shades. Then I would think that way you'd lock in the contract. They could start doing their ordering and planning. They could send you the price on the mats. And then later on, if I don't know how it works for Playtopia, but I would think you could do like a change order to bring those on later pretty easily, but at least that way you can lock in your basic contract.
Okay.
Does that make sense to the Playtopia folks?
Well,
my background's more construction, but
yeah, no problems with that whatsoever.
That's correct.
okay.
Okay.
Somebody
so
could make that motion if they wanted with those specifications.
Is that how we want it, Michelle? Nothing else needs to change? Everything's
do you
good?
as far as I'm concerned, it is.
Okay. No, I was just making absolutely sure. I'll make the motion.
And I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion
And
carries.
that was wood mulch and eliminating 2 shades.
Shades,
Mhm.
yes. So
Yes.
we're gonna
And
go
the
with their,
mats?
we're gonna go with their quote. For the wood mulch, the one with the wood mulch on it, eliminating 2 shades. And then they'll get us pricing on the mats for later. We can do a change order if we need to.
What we'll do on our end, it will take early next week to get the 3D site plan. You got to re-render it and do certain things. So it typically takes 2 to 3 days, business working days to do that. So early next week, we can have all that completely revised to make sure it still looks right. And then I'll do a second quote with the mats on there, just on the side.
Sounds good.
Okay. So could you just really quickly go over the time frame and the process of that?
So typical lead time, what we'll do. Once we agree on all of this and the quote's good, what we have is a color PO confirmation. We'll get your tax exempt form, which I'm sure you're tax exempt. And once that's signed, that says, here's everything we agreed upon. This year's a little unusual. Lead times are not what they typically would be. So currently we're in a 12 to 16 week lead time after the contract is signed, which is unheard of in our industry, but everybody's dealing with it. Metal playgrounds they're even past that. At
16 to 20 weeks.
They're 16 to 20. So, and that's weather depending. So that's pushing us into winter time. We know in Kentucky, sometimes we're good to go. Sometimes the ground freezes. So as long as we can get it in the ground, you're looking 12 to 16 weeks. And then normally what we will do, once the contract is signed, it's 50% down. And then once it's in the ground, installed, I can come out, you have a sign off form saying we're happy with everything, then the remaining balance would be due. And that's just standard in the industry for everybody. If that works for you all.
I know that we talked about possibly delaying the pavilion being put up until, it was a little bit warmer because we didn't want to put it up in January. And then, so we wanted to probably delay that a little bit so that we could have kind of an open house and big reveal kind of thing. So, and I talked to them, and is that still okay, Aaron and Tanner?
Yeah, as long as, we put playgrounds in January, February, March, it doesn't really matter that it's winter. It's just takes the concrete to set a lot longer than it would if it was in the dead of summer. And then there's still a certain temperature we really don't want to pour any concrete in whatsoever. But for the most part, Kentucky's winters, we might have a few cold snaps, but they stay fairly mild. So we shouldn't have any problem putting it in.
A lot of rain will delay it more than cold around here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that a job that size, I would think we could probably have in 3 to 4 days. Something like that. As long as the mulch and everything shows up on time and everything. So, which they're really good about. So, we shouldn't have. It shouldn't take too long to get that in.
And also what I'm going to do, so I visit every site. I cover all of Kentucky, Tennessee. You guys are up where I grew up. So I will, if all of this goes forward, I will be out there at some point, schedule a visit, because I like to get pictures on the ground. I don't want our install guys to have any surprises. I want to know where they can stage, where they can park, how they can get in. And then I come personally measure all that stuff myself. And then we put all that into a file. And so I would do that fairly quickly, actually.
Yeah. We will definitely want to be boots on the ground and make sure everything's lining up the way it's supposed to before we start digging that first hole.
Yep.
So.
And we can talk more about when and how the process is going to work a little bit closer to when we're ready. So I know we want to put a fence in as well. I'm sure our insurance company will want that too. So. All right. Is there any more questions? Okay. Aaron and Tanner, if you want to stay on, you're welcome to. If you need to go, we understand that too. So.
I keep hearing
I
Aaron's
guess you heard
stomach.
my stomach
His
growling.
stomach keeps growling over here. I don't.
I've been turning red. I'm trying to cover it up.
All right. Thank you so much for coming. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. If you need to have another meeting, that's fine. Let us know. We'll be happy to join. You can email or call us with any questions.
You have my cell phone number and my email. The Saturday, Sundays, there's no off time for us. Anything that comes up in the meantime, while you let us know that you do want us to make these changes, don't hesitate. We'll help out right away.
Great.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys.
Good night.
All right. Congratulations, guys. You made your first big decision. Woohoo.
Yay. I feel good about it.
I do too. I think it's a good choice, good decision, and I'm really pleased. I'm excited to work with these guys. They are just seem to be on the ball, and their references checked out too. So
I like them.
yeah. All right, real quick. I know because Michelle's got to get going. So our pavilion was put up last week, and Wayne Long did a little bit of preliminary electrical work that needed to be done while the pavilion was going to be was being put up at the same time. So that work is going to be around $1,500 roughly, and I have authorization to sign off on that. So I went ahead and did that because it needed to be done before they put the ceiling in. Rick Vance is going to pour the foundation in the next week or two. Got to have another load of rock brought in. I've got that scheduled. I don't expect that to be more than $500 for the rock. And I had Andy Sackleben, he's our lawn service people. I went ahead and had him sow seed along the outer edges and in the park area. That was his recommendation. He said, if we don't do something, we're going to have major erosion problems during the winter. So that's all taken care of. Any questions about the pavilion?
It looks
I
good.
went out there and looked at it a couple, 3 days ago. And I don't know who's in charge of it or whatever, but the slope protection is that blanket looking like stuff that's laying there on the ground. The wind has rolled it all over down the hills. And it needs to be rolled back up with little stakes put in it. That's that woody looking fiber blanket that's down there.
Okay, so we need some stakes.
Yeah, whoever put it down didn't stake it.
Okay.
And that's where the erosion's going to start, is up there.
I
We can
probably
walk out
have
and look at it if you want.
some stakes left over from a home improvement project. I could probably just put it in.
Okay,
I'll get it. Thanks for.
I'll come down there and stick them in. It's no big deal, but that's where the erosion's going to start.
Yeah.
The wind just did it, that's all.
Okay, I agree. It's going to be because it's so steep there. Wayne Long is our electrician on this project. He also did our LED sign, and he would like to do some work before he gets too busy and before the weather gets bad. Originally, all the work that he quoted us was like close to $25,000. I think he does want to do about $6,478 worth of work, and that was to lay the conduit for the electric that's going to go out into the playground. Maybe possibly he's going to, we talked about cameras and also internet cables. And while he has to bore under the parking lot and sidewalk, it's best just to do all that at once. So later down the road, we don't have to go back and pay for that. If we decide to put in security cameras or internet or any other electrical work. So that quote came in at $6,478, and that just came in this afternoon. I apologize, it's not on the agenda. So.
Do you need a motion for that to be paid for? How much was it?
$6,478.
And that's for some electrical work to be done ahead of time.
It is, that will get us, it will make his job a lot easier come spring when he has to put in all the LED lights, if we choose to put LED lights around the playground. And
What was his name again? Dina, I'm sorry.
Wayne Long. And it's Long Electric is the company name.
Okay.
That is, I am comfortable with that quote. I think it was about $9,000 or $10,000 to go across the front of the building when we laid the conduit for the LED sign. So
I will make the motion that we use the quote from Long Electric for $6,478 for some electrical work to be done ahead of time.
Second.
I get a second. Okay, Pam, second. And all in favor?
Hang on.
Aye.
Aye.
thank you guys. Okay, so last week our Doug Lansdale, he cleaned the building for us. He passed away. And so we are, my staff has really stepped up to the plate and they've helped keep the library clean this last week. I did reach out to OC Cleaners out of LaGrange, met with her, Miss Kemper, I can't remember her first name, but I met with her a couple days ago and I felt just really comfortable with her. I think she has she's been in the business for about 4 or 5 years. She does residential and commercial. She's bonded. And she has quite a few employees so that if something happens to her or, you know, she gets sick or something, she has employees to step in and help out. The quote for that came in at $315 a week. That's about $300 more than Doug Lansdale. We were paying Doug Lansdale, but we also added a lot more work. She's willing to do a lot more work outside and help clean up that area and help with changing out light bulbs and some other things. So I would like to go ahead and sign a contract with OCA Cleaning for 12 months.
$315 a week.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said that's about $300 more than Doug charged. So
Yes.
You mean by the month?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we paid, Doug was at 900. He didn't raise his prices the last year or two, but he was also not doing as much as we're asking this new company either. So.
And Dina, am I right in, did you say that we actually paid our cleaner before that a little bit more than Doug? So, I mean, it's still within the range of what we paid.
Yeah, before Doug, we had Travis Wright and we paid him almost $1,500 a month. And this was 3 or 4 years ago.
And they have to be bonded, right?
They
Or-
recommended it, yes.
Okay. And are they? Is
Yes,
this
they're-
OC Cleaners? Okay.
Yes, and we'll have them provide their insurance and everything.
Okay, so Dina we need a motion to accept the contract for 12 months for OC Cleaners out of LaGrange for $315 a week.
Make the motion.
I'll
That's
second.
Pam.
Who did? Who second?
I did.
Angela.
Mhm.
And all in favor?
Aye.
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 Right, I appreciate you guys doing that. I know Betsy doesn't want to clean bathrooms anymore because she appreciates that too. So, all right.
Don't blame her.
Yeah, we've been dealing with HVAC repairs for the last 2 or 3 months. Finally got a quote from Hvac Mechanicals. I usually, when they come in and do stuff, I just, we have to have a coil and they are our HVAC company. So I usually just pay the bill. If you want to make a motion, we can, but it's going to cost $3,600 to replace the coils in the children's activity room. So I don't know if you want to make a motion on that, just to cover ourselves.
I'll make the motion that we pay the $3,600. Let Dina get Hvac Mechanical to replace the coils at $3,600 in the children's area.
I second.
Is that Pam?
Yes.
Okay,
All
so
in
there's,
favor?
sorry.
Everybody in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
So those coils should be in the next week and we should be able to schedule that repair. The director's office, however, is still a mess. So the system in here has never really worked properly. Betsy can vouch for me on that. We usually just end up turning it off and I get a space heater and I bring in fans in the summer. And so we have 2 options. We can either replace the coil and it'll be $3,600 to fix an old unit that hasn't worked properly to begin with, and that's going to take 3 months to get the coil in. That's how far back they are in the supply chain on coils. Or we can install, they can change the way it's the unit, and they can install an above ceiling ducted style unit for $5,800. And this would take 6 to 8 weeks in shipping, and then whatever their install time is. So this would, right now I have a unit separate from from everything else. It is on its own thermostat and everything. And this would take, I think that would take that control unit out, and it would tie it into the main system, I think, or it would have its own, it's just a different style of HVAC. So I will do whatever you guys want to do. And if we need more information, we can wait until next month too, but it's taken me 2.5 months to get this quote from them.
I don't think we need to wait because that just prolongs it.
Yeah.
It's my opinion that we should just go with the new unit, because paying $3,600 every time we replace a coil, which just seems like it's every other month. But what do you all think?
I think we should go with the new unit.
I agree.
Yeah, new unit.
Yeah, new unit. And before the weather gets horrible.
Yeah.
So if you order the new unit at $5,800, it's still 6 to 8 weeks before it would even be in, you say?
That's what they're estimating, is that it's a 6 to 8 weeks shipping time, but it's still, you know, a lot sooner than the coils.
Right.
Agree.
Is this 5,800 different from the 3,600 that you mentioned? First of all, it's in addition to that.
Yes, that would be
Okay.
addition. So the activity room coil would
Okay,
cost 3,600, and that was the motion for that.
I gotcha.
Yep. And this is for the director's office.
Okay, right.
So they're quoting $5,800 for that.
I will make the motion that we go with the new unit at $5,800 for the director's office.
I'll second.
Dudley, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Michelle, I'm looking at the time. Do you need to go? 6:40.
I can give it a few more minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna hurry through this. So we're working on the electronic doors out front. So be watching for a bill for that. We're still waiting for parts. The heating element went on the water heater this week, so we got that fixed, and we had some clogs in some pipes. We went over our open records request and records retention policy last month. I got that up on our website, so we're good to go there. I wanted to, last year, the board gave me a lot of leeway in allowing staff to flex their time and telecommute during the pandemic. I feel like we've got a new board, and I just want to see where you guys are and comfortable if you're allowing me that flexibility to allow staff to work from home a little bit, to take care of when they're quarantining or when a child is quarantining. If we need to make a policy, we can, and put it down in writing. I just want to see where you guys are, what your comfort level is.
I'm satisfied with using your judgment.
It's pretty common for libraries for the director to be able to be empowered during this pandemic to weigh the needs of the library, and also how best to help folks be safe and be at home. So it's not a radical thing that you all did in the past or is being suggested here.
I think that makes perfect sense.
Yep.
I'm not sure that we need to change anything, Dina, and you can use your better judgment. And if there is a situation or a particular situation that's completely out of the ordinary, then she could always get in touch with the board members and see.
I did reach out to Michelle. We had a staff member that had to quarantine with her children, and we kind of talked through it, and we thought it was fair that a staff member would be allowed to work from home for 4 hours and then be required to use 4 hours sick leave. It's impossible to homeschool and work 8 hours from home. It's just can't be done. We did it a little bit last year and it was just very stressful. So that was kind of some of the decisions we had to just come up with real quickly. So if anybody has a problem with that, let me know and we'll talk through it. Hotspots and Chromebooks, their projects getting on the ground. We're starting to see some use with that. Still kind of working with the Chromebooks though, trying to figure out how to use those. And we're just waiting for our copiers to come in. The contract has been signed. So, and that's all I have. Does anybody else have any questions?
I do have one thing. In our last meeting at Hvac, we are going to have some additional funds and they are working on some special projects. And has anyone contacted you about that, Dina?
Not yet.
Okay, so one of the projects that they're talking about and working through with Ruth Baxter, the lawyer in Carrollton, she's actually on our board, had contacted Verizon and they're going to supply hotspots for each county that is serviced by Hvac, which is there are 5, but they're going to supply, I think they're going to supply 5 to the library. There are actually some libraries that aren't doing that in our 5 counties, believe it or not, but they're going to supply us 5 more that you can check out. And they are going to give the county 5 to place in businesses that have parking lots that they have discussed with them that if they're okay with people parking here at night. So that's kind of all in the works. They haven't, we haven't ordered them or anything yet, but they are going to spend some money on trying to get us some more internet access for kids, since it's still up in the air as to whether they're getting schooling at home and a lot of them don't have internet access. So they're going to be placing things like Cooper's Bottom, out at Bray's, some different places where the need is.
That's really cool. I hadn't heard that yet, so that's really neat that they're forward thinking and purchasing some things that our community could really need. So that's great.
And I'm also planning on talking to them, Angela, about the building that Shauna needs, but don't spread that around.
Oh, I won't. Fantastic. No.
We're on, we're live, but I just felt like that was a special need for this county. So I'm going to ask, because we're going to have some funds left.
What? Yay.
That is awesome.
Anybody else?
Mention that to Shauna, just so I don't, if I'm not supposed to.
No, you can tell her.
Okay.
Does anybody else have anything that they want to discuss before we adjourn? Thank you, Chris, for coming tonight.
Sure. Glad to be here.
Do we need a motion?
Do you have anything else, Dina?
I don't. I just want to say thank you again for everybody's input. I think we're going to have a lot of fun working together and get to do a lot of fun projects. So
I'm excited about the playground.
me too.
Me too.
Okay, so can I get a motion to adjourn at 6:48?
I'll make a motion.
Angela, and I'll second. Everybody, all in favor?
Aye.